Okay guys, you asked for it, here it is. This is the final edition of the long shot modification. So what you want to start out to do is we're going to start out with the foregrip mod before we go to the internals of the gun. Is when you get this piece off, unscrew it. There are screws on either side and it should come out and look like this. So when we put the when we screw around with the internals and put the rest of the gun back together, instead of putting the whole handle on, we're just going to put on this part. So it won't be jutting out when we put the foregrip mod on it. And I'm going to try to deal with this handle, but first let's move to the internals. Okay, so I am going to do a little bit more than just removing the air restrictor, but first things first. Take this out of the gun. You should know where this is. It's pretty obvious because it's the biggest internal piece. And the air restrictor is inside here. So what we have to do is unscrew these screws in the back to open it up. Alright, so I unscrewed it and it comes out real easy. As you can see, that's obviously the spring. And if you have additional O-rings, reinforce the plugger with more O-rings. So what you're seeing is sort of what we have to deal with. We have to take that off and try not to damage it. And I forget how I did this in my last mod, but I can look in my older gun and show you. Just give me a couple minutes. Okay, so this is the inside of my other long shot with no air restrictor, and here's the inside of the long shot I'm currently modding with the air restrictor. My old gun worked perfectly until I broke the plugger rod with a too powerful spring, so I'm going to be going off my old gun a lot. And I think, just from looking at the differences, this black piece in here, I just kind of pried off. Like, I took pliers in one of those grooves and pulled it off. And then another piece should come with it, and that would be the air restrictor. I'll go do that so I can show you what it is. Hold on. Alright, this is very strange, but I pulled the bit out of the new long shot, and the whole thing came out. And it's not broken. It's perfectly, like, good. I could put this back in the gun, and it'd work perfectly. This was a stroke of luck. So what we have to do, or what I'm going to try, is getting the pliers around the edge of the circle, the inner circle more, instead of just pulling the outside circle, just the inner. And that should take out this, which is the air restrictor. So, hold on. Okay guys, got it off. Let me show you all the parts you don't need. This, especially not this, because that's the air restrictor itself, and the air restrictor spring. Well, I dropped it, but it's a spring, the only spring here, so take it out. So here's what happened. It was really cool. It might just be because it's a different lubricant and colored, because the old long shot doesn't have that break in it. Anyway, so if you have a long shot that's got the black colors instead of just all orange, then the way you put it back together is place that on and place this on the end. Oh, whoops, wrong order. But before you do that, what I'm going to try is take this off so that, try to leave the center bar though, so that this will be able to fire Stephans. But if you take the bar in the center off, then it might not hold the dart properly. So don't take the center bar off, just the long bar. In case you didn't know what I meant by the center bar, that's this piece, the bar in the center. But the reason I'm going on about that so much is, if you don't take that out, the dart could slide back farther, and you guys would complain to me, "You broke my gun!" And I don't want that, okay? So leave that part in. Sorry, I have to be, like, concerned about that. I hope you understand. If you got mad that I was saying that, sorry. Hope that made up for it. Okay, so put it back together so it should move like this. And you might be realizing this part is missing. Well, I think that's a lock, so I'm going to try and see what happens to put this gun back together without that lock and see if it makes a difference, because there are a lot of useless extra parts in the gun. Like, there's this rail on the top. I don't know where it is right now, but it's really an unnecessary part, and it's kind of hard to put the gun back together with that in it and do it correctly. So, alright, I don't know where it is, but it goes right here on the gun, and it comes up to here, and that shows you if the gun is armed or not. And unless you really want that, I suggest you not put that bar back in the gun, because it just makes the gun harder to put back together, as I said. So, yeah. Okay, so if you have more O-rings, as I said, you can place them on the end of the rod, and I don't know if you can see that well, but they're there. And place the rod back into this piece, and screw it back in place, and then we might deal with other aspects of the gun. I have to look it over a little more clearly before I decide if I'm going to. And I found that black piece that you don't have to put in the top part. It's really a useless piece unless you want to know if the gun's armed or not, besides pulling the trigger. So, yeah, just hold on. Okay, before you put the gun back together for the foregrip mod, we're going to need these legs off, so unscrew this part on both ends of both shells of the gun, and the leg should pop off. Alright, this is strange. I know I took out like half the parts in the gun, but sorry. It's I know I'm gonna have to open this up again. There are two different kinds of streamlines, I just realized. The bolt goes into them differently. Like, one has stuff farther back in it than the other. So, let me show you what I mean. Hold on. I will load the clip with not a good stuff on, but a basic stuff on. I don't have any good ones on hand. So, see for yourself. It's strange. But besides that, long shot. Works like a charm. Okay, so, it's loaded bad dart, good dart, Stefan. And the Stefan's not that great. That went about 10 feet. Hit the door straight. Hit the door straight. So, it's weird. That's one dart was being retarded. And, I know the darts for the long shot and the recon were different. So I think, when I sold my recon, I mixed some of the long shot and recon darts up because they look the same on the outside. They just have different fillings on the inside. So, if you're using good Stefans, big deal. Doesn't matter. Mod's perfect. But, if you have a recon and a long shot, try not to mix up the darts, because there is a little bit of a difference, which is strange. Anyway, gun is great. Even though I took out more like half the parts. And yes, that wasn't loaded. You weren't supposed to see anything. And I took out the top chamber so I can, or the cover thing, so I can see the dart going in and out. And as you saw, it's a little bit of a catch. Like, it doesn't go all the way back with the same amount of force as it used to. You have to jerk it a little bit more, but it feels great. So, what we're going to do now is, since we're all done with the internals, well, I'm going to paint it before I do anything else, and you're entitled to if you want to. So, yeah. And then we're going to address the foregrip mod. So, actually I might not paint it, I'm not sure. Well, whatever, I'll figure out what I'm doing and I'll let you know.